Great. So the meeting is called to order at 6:05 p.m. We do have a quorum, so we can start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. She's laughing the whole time. Great. Can we have roll call, please?
Yes. Chair Lufus,
Here.
Vice Chair Monroe,
Here.
Commissioner Garcia, here. Commissioner Harrell,
Present.
Commissioner Gonzalez, Commissioner Williams, here. Commissioner Mitchell. You have a quorum with 5 present.
Thank you. That brings us to our first community forum. Anyone wishing to address the council on any matter for which another opportunity to speak is not provided on the agenda and which is within the jurisdiction of the council or the commission to resolve is requested to submit a completed speaker card to the secretary. When called upon, each speaker should step to the podium, state his or her name and address for the record, and then the conduct of the community forum shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes, with each speaker limited to 3 minutes. Do we have any speakers?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Currently do not have any speakers signed up for this particular item on the agenda. However, I did start a 2-minute timer, which is reflected on the top left corner of your screen. However, feel free to keep on with the agenda, and at the conclusion of that timer, if anybody signs up, I will let you know.
Great, thank you. That brings us to item 5, approval of agenda and meeting minutes. So the approval of the November 12th, 2025 agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Great. And do we have an approval for the October 8th, 2025 regular meeting minutes?
Motion to approve October 8th meeting minutes.
Second.
Can we get a roll call, please?
You need a roll call on that?
Do you do them both at the same time?
Yeah.
Chair Lufus,
Yes.
Vice Chair Monroe,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
I'm going to abstain.
abstain. Commissioner Harrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
The minutes and the agenda passes with 4 in favor, 1 abstention.
Great, thank you. That brings us to item 6, presentations and commendations. Item A, update on new and upcoming lost business. I did a quick review. There were 6 new business licenses in the month of October, and I believe 2 were renewals and 4 were new. And the way I found that was to dive deep after I found the information and go Google to make sure that they were already withstanding in the area. So I found that 2 were renewed and 6 were new. And that's all I have on that. Do I have any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. Item 7, report of the committee board secretary, who's here just in the nick of time.
Okay, good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Okay, so I have a report. Let's see. The first item is we were going to review future agenda items list. I've included that in your package. And I just wanted to basically go over how this is maintained. So it's a running list of the items that are requested during these meetings. As you can see, the first column has the date that the item was requested, and then the description of the item. It also lists by who, which commissioner proposed the item, and then the intention is to move it forward to step 1. If the item has been removed for whatever reason, it's been grayed out, and these discussions happen with chair, sometimes with with my boss, the assistant city manager, sometimes with city attorney's office, as we vet these, one, to find out if they're within the purview of the commission, and second, whether they're specific enough or feasible. And then if they are intending to move forward, then they get prioritized based on the agenda planning sessions. So if and when an item is deemed to be part of, an upcoming agenda because it's a priority item, then it moves forward to as step one. And as you can see, some of the items on this list have already been completed and brought forward. So that's generally what we do and how I keep track of items that are requested.
Do we have any questions? Okay, see you.
I was just going to ask in terms of, thanks Secretary for providing that overview. Just in terms of maybe like reviewing this or thinking through, for example, if we need to correct things or if we identify things that are missed, what should the process be for that?
Yeah, so my goal is to bring this to the meetings periodically. I probably don't need, I don't know if we need to bring it forward every meeting, but at least periodically, so that you can see that it has been added to this list. And we can, again, discuss during future agenda items. If you have another, a reminder or a re-request for the item. As you can see, some of them get repeated. So, so that's also noted. But yeah, I think the intent is to capture all of the requests, to vet them, and to prioritize them.
Sure.
So I think just for clarity, if there was something on there that we wanted to bring forward, we could address that during this time, or would that be during the item 11, where it is future agenda items?
Yeah, because I won't be bringing this forward every meeting. This is just a secretary report, but if you do have the request for future agenda items, I think that's the best place to remind or to re-request or to offer, no?
So I think to the extent that the commission wants to bring forward step one of any of these, then it would be a request to agendize one of these items that is preceding us to come to step one, where you would vote on whether to move that item forward or not. Same thing for items that are at step two, although pretty much the step two items are done. I think they're all done, actually. No, there's one, but that one is a recurring one that maybe doesn't need to be on here because that's that training attended one that just keeps going on and on. So perhaps that one doesn't really necessarily need to be on as step two. But and it looks like the next one, community outreach reports from commissioners, that is something that you've been routinely reporting on as well. But I actually understood Commissioner Garcia's question to be somewhat different than the answer, and I think that was that she was asking if she reviews this list and believes something is missing, how does she communicate that she thinks it's missing? Was that your question?
Yeah, missing
Okay.
or something maybe doesn't reflect like my recollection of what's there or anything like that.
Sure. So I think if commissioners, I think there's a couple ways. One, you could bring it up now and say, hey, I think this item is missing, and then staff could go back and look at the meeting where you thought it was brought up to be a future agenda item to see what happened there and get what the item is on this list. That's how we dealt with it with the council, but I think you could always also reach out separately. Like if each of you review it and each of you sees something you think is missing, you could reach out to Yvette and say, hey, I think this is missing, and I think it was March of this year when we talked about it, can you go look? And then she can check it and add it to the list if it is missing. I think we found that in some instances, going over the council's list, similar list, that some of those items, council members have said, wow, I thought we did X, Y, or Z in a specific month, and that's how the city clerk has been handling it.
Got it. Got it. And, you know, I mean, I'm only using this as an example. I don't think that there needs to be a lot of action related to it. But like, for example, there's a request, I think, listed under my name around Sonoma Boulevard. I actually did not request a subcommittee around Sonoma Boulevard, which isn't to say that we should not have it or anything like that. But I think just a matter of public record, it would be good for us to perhaps go back and like make, you know, to reflect those changes accurately.
Yeah.
I don't know how they would, how they could come up in the future, but I think that just for accuracy, and as a point in turn, it would be good for us to look at this and make sure that we're assigned to the right ones, that those actually reflect what we intended on asking. And some of that I think is covered in the minutes too. But
Yeah, sometimes I think it can get cloudy there. So
Yeah.
if you think there's something that is missing from a request, either, you know, bring it up now since we're talking about the list, or bring it up when Yvette, because the list, her report on this list is on the agenda tonight. So you could
Yeah.
bring it up now if you think there's something specifically missing and you want to talk about it. But I think it's also fair that any one of you could reach out to her and say, I recall that we talked about adding X, and I think it was around this time frame, and she can check and add it.
yeah, that's really helpful.
Great. Commissioner Harrell?
Yeah. You know, as I look at this list, and it's all public information, is there any way that our agenda goes online, correct? Is there any way that this can be a standard document that is attached right to our regular agenda? And I hope I'm framing this question in a way that's understandable.
So if I restate it, I think you're saying, Yvette was thinking she would bring this back on a quarterly basis or
Sure.
something, but you're asking in between those quarters, or you're asking instead of those quarters, that
In
the
lieu of.
list be
In lieu of.
attached to the agenda packet, and there is the agenda item of,
11.
I don't know I'll go look at what it is, I'm sorry. Oh, agenda item number 11, yes, did you say 11, I'm sorry?
Yes, you did.
My apologies. My ears are very plugged. Under agenda item 11, the list could be on there, but having staff updated on an every meeting basis.
Well,
I'd
okay,
have-
let me rephrase it. I'm thinking technologically and more effective and efficient operational procedure. If it was in a doc online that was edited and we simply had reader rights to that doc, then anytime she would update it, and I don't know the back end that you have in city, anytime she updated it, we would be able to see that an update has taken place.
True.
Et cetera. It would be live on a month-to-month basis, as opposed to her compiling it and then going back and printing out I'm just thinking through this process.
Like a Google Doc.
Yeah,
Like
either
a
of-
Google Doc. Yeah.
Either of those work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to speak for Yvette about
No,
what
no, no.
she can and
I-
can't do, but
Right.
can that happen legally? Yes. it
Okay, so then the question would be of the commission, is this something that the commission would find value in, that then we can ask for it to be done? And are there any impediments that you might have in getting and doing something like that? Does that really put a kink in your process?
Yeah, I think basically you're asking that this be updated within the agenda. So it would really be a recurring item on the agenda, updated, because otherwise, if it was on the EDC agenda or the economic development agenda, that's something that goes through IT to update the website, you know what I mean? And we don't have a shared drive that we
Okay.
use with EDC, like for it to be live. Because I could put a document live on our share drive, but that's either internal or with specific consultants that we share specific share drives with. We don't have one for EDC. So So I think the most practical would be, if that's what you want, on the website, I'm sorry, through the agenda process.
It's easier for you to do that. So I'm just, the website can link to the document that you have in whatever system it is, as opposed to a shared drive type thing, because that's what you don't have.
If I understood what Yvette was saying, she was saying she doesn't have control over the website. That's
Right.
an IT thing.
Right.
I don't know.
Totally
It's not a
understood.
big deal, I don't think, Yvette. You tell me if it's a big deal for each commission meeting. Doesn't have to be on the agenda if they're not going to talk about it. They just want to know what's changed on it. So is there any reason each commission meeting you couldn't put a hard copy at each commissioner's place so they have it?
I could do that or even email it.
Yeah.
Either
You know what I
one.
mean?
Either one. It's, the list gets longer and longer and longer. And we should be, in my opinion, we should be able to read through it and prioritize and adjust priorities literally on the fly through whatever the normal process is, but to adjust what we see is a necessary, what items we believe should be brought forth faster.
Well, I think
Or
as
sooner.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think as the initial one here, this was intended to be somewhat historical, for lack of a better word. But anything in gray or anything in green could come off the next update. The list will get that much shorter because there are a few gray and green things here, either done or not going to be done. And then you just have your whites to what I'm calling the white, the uncolored, boxes to be prioritized, if that makes sense, or to be moved on to the next steps.
Either way, it was just an exploratory question about
Yeah.
how we can get more information faster, or this information, on a regular basis.
Makes
Let-
sense.
She's addressed that by a hard copy print dropped on the.
Yeah, let me try then updating it, and as soon as I update them, email them to you. Email you let's try that.
That's fine.
I would say, though, I really like, if it's possible, I don't know what the IT folks will say, but if there is a shareable link, not to a drive, but just to the document, I think that would actually be really beneficial for the commission and probably for the public, too, so that they could see what we're actually talking about on a regular basis.
I would have to look into that
Yeah,
and bring
okay,
you back.
that sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and then attendance report. I've also included an attendance report for the year, and that goes all the way from January 2025 through the October meeting. So I've noted the 2 meetings this summer that we didn't have a session, and thus far, this commission is doing amazing with attendance. So that's your report.
Great, thank you. That brings us to item 8A, a report from the EDC City Council Liaison, which I do not see in attendance. Is he online? Okay. And then let's move to item 8B, report from the Business Retention Expansion Ad Hoc Committee on, or Business Retention Expansion on Sonoma Boulevard Ad Hoc Committee.
Thank you, Chair. So yes, this was successful. It's been successful so far. We had our first meeting. I believe it was the 27th. I got to look back in my calendar, but we done met twice so far. Our first meeting, we kind of set some guidelines, some goals of how we wanted to operate, and just kind of trying to figure out how far we can really take this commission and how effective we really can be in the community in this function. But we got a couple things that we kind of pointed out. We want to contact a number of property owners and tenants. We want to determine what staff will come with us to the site visits, such as the same kind of process that we had with the last subcommittee, where Director Neiman would come out with us. So maybe it's not Director Neiman, maybe it's Assistant Manager Conley or somebody else, whoever is available to come ride along with us. And then also we looking to create a map of property owners and tenants, generate data, get some reports and recommendations, build partnerships with, continue to build partnerships with Solano EDC, because that was a big help when they came and attended each meeting with us as well, to just give the business owners a little bit more information about not what the city of Vallejo doing, but the county as well. We're creating a script for the property owners, and we would love some help from the city as well, whatever direction you guys may have for us. Gather data about the property owners, and lastly, we want to target our timeline to be January 2026. So if it isn't a rush ask, we definitely need the commissioners to all have a name tag or business cards. So that was one of the main things that was part of our discussion as well. And then we actually just met again probably last week or maybe 2 weeks ago at this point. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, where we discussed in our first meeting that we were going to do like a ride along up and down Sonoma Boulevard. So we actually met up at the Taco Bell right there on the edge of Sonoma Boulevard. And we drove up and down Sonoma Boulevard, went all the way to Vargas Market. That was the main plaza that's right before you get to Vallejo, and then drove all the way down Sonoma to the end of Cortola. So we just looking and game planning, kind of seeing what areas need the most discussion, most impact, most anything. We need some sort of resolutions with a lot of these different, vacant properties. So if Commissioner Williams would like anything to add on there, I would love if you speak on it as well. Thank you.
Great summary. Yeah, we're excited to be starting on this, and we had a great tour. And we would, if staff can provide any property owner information for the corridor, that would be awesome, like a spreadsheet with the owners and addresses and things like that. Yeah. So, and we're going to reach out to property owners, tenants, and brokers representing properties. I think that's all.
And we'll probably meet again before the end of the year, of course, but with the holidays coming up, probably just keep that in mind that people are somewhat restricted.
Great, thank you. Do you have a vehicle to how to retrieve the property owner's information and contact information and names?
We don't have that information yet. It was kind of in our thought process of just bringing it to the city staff attention tonight, so that maybe we can get the ball rolling on that and kind of expedite that. But I'm not sure if there's any privacy matters that may, come up. But if the information is public information, we definitely would like the assistance of the city to help out and kind of weed through that if we could.
Great. I actually can help a little bit because I have a list through Vallejo Main Street, so I can I'll share that out with you.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions for Vice Chair Commissioner Harrell?
Yeah, this goes to the ad hoc committee. I believe it would be in their purview, but more importantly to legal. I have observed vacant properties, the properties that have been abandoned or are no longer being occupied by businesses, and the maintenance of the grounds and area around those properties is unacceptable. And I believe that the city has, they have the ability, I don't know if they've enforced or acted on it, but what is the city's ability, or what is the city's responsibility, and how do we enforce and make sure that businesses that are leaving, these are large-scale property owners, more than likely they have many other properties in their portfolio, so the maintenance cost is not something that should be prohibitive at all, but they need to do grounds work maintained because it's an attractive nuisance on one hand, and it's unsightly on another, as we sit here trying to retain business or bring businesses in. So what is the legal limitation that we have as a city in that regard? And is that a public works process? Where does that fall? Or code enforcement?
It actually does fall with code, and you're right, it doesn't help get leased up either when they don't look.
That's correct.
Well, when they don't look good, for lack of a better word. So we do have a vacant property registration ordinance
Okay.
that requires them to register them all, gives code the contact information for people who should be contacted. Code reaches out, or they're certainly supposed to be reaching out when conditions exist that constitute a nuisance or, don't meet the property maintenance standards. They do that. My team does assist them when it gets beyond the warning stage. So the neighborhood law program team does assist code with those. I don't know how many of them we have right now. I do know that I can check with Kristen, who is the department head over code, and ask her, what's the status? Is staff, actively looking at and inspecting properties? Certainly, you can report those properties, here's a vacant property on See-Click Fix that does not appear to be being maintained, and then that will get assigned, and someone will then know to go take a look at it. It takes a while. There's a pretty big backlog there, but you absolutely can report it that way. If you know what those addresses are, you could also probably send a email through and say, hey, there's these addresses and I can't tell whether they're registered or not.
And have the,
Figure it out.
within the code enforcement group or people that actually do the monitoring and whatnot, See-Click Fix is very good. It's usable, and just as you say, it's something that takes time,
Right.
unfortunately. Is there a segregation of commercial compared to home, residential? Because the commercial should be significantly more, we should be significant, in my opinion, significantly more aggressive or assertive in requesting and requiring that they maintain tidiness of their plant, of their abandoned facility.
I have to admit that I don't, from the user side, I don't use See-Click Fix, if that makes sense. So I don't know the answer to your question as to whether or not, I know it's by address, but I don't know whether or not there's a designation, commercial versus residential versus whatever in that platform. I'd have to go look to see what that looks like from the user side, or frankly from the report side. Staff obviously has the ability to run the addresses and figure out whether they're commercial or residential, but I don't know whether that information is populated when the address is populated. I'd have to look into that. I don't know the answer. Sorry.
No. Do you think it would be, Chair, this is for you, I think, do you think it would be to our advantage to ask for code enforcement to come to share with us what their process is, and so that we can make recommendations as an economic development entity within this organization to say, hey, look, segregate them, separate them, assign someone to do commercial and somebody else to do the residential, or the first 3 hours of the day are commercial, or 4 hours or whatever, and then move to residential. I just think that there's process here that can be certainly improved.
I 100% agree.
So
I think that is definitely something. I can reach out to the code enforcement and have
that
them
would be
come.
great. Thank you.
Sure.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, so you'll reach out to Kristen, do you want staff to do that, or you're going to do that?
Oh, I mean, staff can do that.
Okay, whichever, no, you
I
can
mean, I
do
can
it.
reach out to her,
I
but
wasn't
yeah,
trying
I'll
to
have staff do that. No, thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
No, I wasn't trying to discourage you, I just wanted clarity, so we.
No,
so-
it's fine, it's fine. It's okay. Yes, for sure. Commissioner Garcia? Did you have, oh, sorry.
I'm just thinking that, I think for this kind of effort, the more all hands on deck from the various departments, the better. So, I mean, I don't know if code enforcement could give us a person who's sort of dedicated or specifically understands what we're doing and helps us focus on these ones. And I think taking a carrot and a stick approach, this would be the stick part of it, would be good. Carrots would be, just the fact that we're visiting and we direct them to the appropriate website and any resources, the SBDC or resources. It's also a listening tour to find out what are the issues and desires of the various stakeholders. But I think it'd be great to have code enforcement come and talk to us and build a relationship, and maybe they can focus on this project also.
Yeah, that's great. We can also see, maybe they have, 10 complaints already
Oh,
on certain
yeah.
properties.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
being
yeah.
able to share that information would be
Yes.
huge. So, great. Is that,
That would be very valuable.
yeah. So that brings us to, I'm sorry, was that the end of your report?
Yes.
Okay. So now we are at 9A. Actually,
Through the
Through the
chair,
chair.
Councilmember
yeah, I was
Thank
just
you.
going
is
to
here.
say, so Councilmember Matthias, we've actually moved up we've actually moved you to item, is it 7? Or, where is he?
8A.
8A?
We were just at 8B, so you can really just go back.
But where is he normally? We have him moved up.
Oh, we do?
This is where he is normally now.
I just want to let him know that you used to be like item 10, and I believe you're item
Item
8 now, or 7? Well, we'll find you and let you know.
Thank you, Chairman, and my apologies for not being in attendance last month. We were, a group of the council members were down in Long Beach for the Cal Cities conference, and it was just a wonderful experience to be there, not just to trade notes with other electeds, but also to see how vendors and other experts can potentially support some of the city's efforts. And so hopefully there'll be an opportunity to do a share out on some of the things that we were able to cover during that conference, but that was the reason why I wasn't here last month. And thank you for letting me know about the agenda change. So I'll start with a quick report out of just activities over the past month, and I will begin broadly around some of the actions that the council took. So we received a report from a consultant that essentially suggested a set of activities that we needed to look at when it came to boards and commissions, possible consolidation of duties and responsibilities, possible studies that we need to look at to see if there are perhaps areas that are not covered under the all the commissions we currently have. And so we provided some direction to city staff, and the reason why that's relevant to this group is because the mayor asked that each of the 19 commissions that we have at the city really at one of the upcoming meetings talk about what are some things you would want to see differently in terms of the experience that you're having as a commissioner, and whether or not there could be a consolidation of duties and responsibilities as they're outlined in that report that was presented to us in October. So that's number one. And then as it relates to the Economic Development Commission, there was a recommendation specifically called out in that report to have the Marina Advisory Committee be consolidated with the Economic Development Commission. So I just want to just make you guys aware of that, and if you have a chance to read through that report, I think it would be very valuable to take a look at that. Number two, we did proceed with approving the security guard contract. Although we have a set limited number of hours that are going to start as part of that contract, we did provide additional direction to city staff to possibly have an augmentation of the hours. And so just as a reminder, a lot of these different activities that we voted on and we've moved forward are meant to be an overlay of solutions that we're proposing in partnership with VPD, in partnership with city staff to improve our public safety. And so now you've got the sheriff's contract, And that sort of going into effect on January 1st, you've got the security guard patrols, you've got the security watchtowers that have all been deployed across the city. You had a hardening grant program that was issued in January. And so these are all, in concert meant to not just make our city safer, but also signal to businesses that we're open to business and that we are taking every step possible to promote that environment and that climate and to keep citizens safe. So that was another action we took. And then the bid for Visit Vallejo was also voted on and approved at the suggested recommended level that they had proposed. I personally didn't agree with what they had proposed, but at the end of the day, voted to move that process forward so that they could have additional revenue flowing, and hopefully in a few years we can go back to that community and have a different type of conversation once they see the added value of the services that organization provides. And then I think, as you all may have been aware, there was also a TEFRA hearing, which is mandated by the Finance and Tax Authority for a apartment conversion that's happening in South Vallejo. Answered a lot of questions around that last week. And as we move ahead to November, there'll be opportunities for us to provide additional direction to city staff on items that we want them to cover. And then the last thing I will know, well, two more things. I am a member of the Public Safety Subcommittee, and at the meeting that we had this past Wednesday, we meet every first Wednesday of the month, VPD put forth a sex trafficking proposal. We provided feedback to them. That will be making its way to the Vallejo City Council for consideration and approval. I think the ask that the Vallejo Police Department's making is $160,000 to start to implement that plan. And so I'm hoping that once we have a date, we can share that back out with you guys so you guys can tune in and listen to that conversation. So that's one. And then two, I also serve as council liaison to the Culture and Arts Commission. That's included in your work plan. The Solano Arts Council submitted an application this January to have the state consider the city of Vallejo as one of the culture districts of the state. 70 cities applied, 20 were selected as semifinalists. State representatives were here 2 weeks ago for a site visit that went about 3.5, 4 hours. And so they'll be making decisions on December 12th. And if we are admitted as a cultural district, we get co-branding marketing opportunities with the state, technical assistance, a small grant, and what I think will be enhanced revenue opportunities, because we'll be on the map, literally. So I thought it was a very successful visit. The city manager was there. We had different members of the arts community, but not all. And so there'll be more opportunities for discussion there. But I'm hopeful that we can at least take that step forward to start to use the culture and the arts as one of the foundational pieces of our, not just revival as a city, because I think it's important, but just as a foundational piece of our economic development efforts. So I hope you guys have an opportunity to partner with the Culture and Arts Commission down the line, and similarly with other members of the arts community and with the Solano Arts Council. So that's my report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Are your public safety subcommittee meetings open to the public?
Yes.
Are they open to the public? Was
Yeah,
that
are
your
they
question?
like public, you can go and
You can.
view the
Yes,
meeting?
they
Okay.
are open.
Okay.
I think so admittedly, I just looked at Veronica now because I've been asking about the Zoom and is it possible for us to make those meetings available over Zoom or YouTube for folks that want to tune in virtually? I don't know if that's an option, but I know anyone can show up. It's the first Wednesday, 6 o'clock in the Vallejo room. So Veronica, is that possible or no?
That's really an Andrew question, not a Veronica question, because I think it's a
a resource question, not a, I mean, is it legally possible? Of course, but the question of whether.
That's what I was getting at.
From a resource perspective, we can do it is a different question, and I can't answer that one. Legally, it is possible, yes.
So we may have a resourcing question that needs to be answered, but.
Thank you.
yeah.
Do we have any other questions for Councilman Matthijs? No? Thank you for that report and for getting in here at the nick of time.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're moving on to action item 9A, consider recommendation expenditures from EDC budget and a contract with Visit Vallejo to provide services to target shop local information to new consumer demographics and populations. So this is step 2 of 2. I should have given you all these before, so I'm going to hand them to you now.
Hey, you want me to do it, Chair?
Oh, yeah. So there's one, I'll keep one of each. So there's one of these and one of these to everybody. So there are 2 items here, or 2. One is the request for funds from Kirk Smith from Visit Vallejo. He's outlined how we could work with him, how the EDC could work with him in the areas that we could help fund. Again, these are just numbers to consider. He would take, after speaking to him, he said if we wanted to, anything that we could provide would be helpful. The second item is from Product Growth Coach, and this is somebody who actually worked with as a contractor for Visit Vallejo. She's actually sitting in the audience right now. She does branding. I'm not going to go through the whole list of everything that she's done. She's also worked with Vallejo Main Street. She's worked with Visit Vallejo, and she's somebody I wanted to give the commission as a resource because we talk a lot about getting ideas from the paper to reality, and she's somebody that can help bring those things forward for the commission as far as needing somebody to do marketing, create materials for the commission. So I wanted everyone to have that information as well, but if you want to discuss the Visit Vallejo, Commissioner Gonzalez had brought up us helping them reach different demographics, specifically the Spanish-speaking community. And you'll see in his request that he notes that they would translate and print an official visitor's guide into Spanish. So if anybody has questions or just want to discuss if we would like to, what we would like to contribute to Visit Vallejo, if anything. So, Commissioner Harrell?
There was something in the agenda, it's listed as targeting shop local information to new consumer demographic populations. And I'm real curious as to what is this new consumer demographic population?
That was the Spanish-speaking, specifically Spanish-speaking, because in his report, he had noted that not a lot of the
Agreed.
participants were Spanish-speaking or any other non-English-speaking businesses. And so it was brought to our attention, and then Commissioner Garcia thought that that would be something that he should dive into, and he had mentioned that it was a funding issue, not necessarily purposely missing out on a certain demographic, but that they didn't have the funding to translate.
Yeah, and 100% agree with it. I take a little bit of offense in identifying that particular demographic as a new consumer group. It's a neglected consumer group. And I would like the record to show that we have been negligent in our marketing to the diverse community at large regarding these matters. And I think I don't need to say any more. I think that there's agreement with all the heads nodding. It's not a new
100% agree. It is
demographic.
not.
It's an existing demographic that is an underserved and are underrepresented.
Yes, 100% agree. Does anybody have any other questions about Shop Local? Vice Chairman Rowe?
I'm not sure if it's directly Shop Local, but as I'm just looking over the funding request,
Yes.
what's going to hit hard for me is that we just got this budget.
Yes.
And I'm seeing the funding request is pretty much our whole budget right there, but I understand we're here to just discuss that at this time. But I'll just say for the record, I guess I am more in favor of the bilingual visitor information rather than the other program. I remember it being spoke on the restaurant week. He was going to do some more restaurant week. He's reaching out to Reno. He's reaching out to Sacramento. He's doing this. He's doing that. But I'm not sure if that's something that we should take on as our responsibility. And then I'm also seeing 4,000 administrative fees. Just it's little things like that that's kind of bothering me. But I understand the focus that we want to, shop local, drive Vallejo, but this is an entity that, has a track record of already doing this work. We can assist, but I don't think we should go broke assisting them at this time.
No, I agree. And this actual funding request went to 3 different entities. It also went to Vallejo Main Street and the Vallejo Chamber of Commerce. So it's mainly, I know the numbers are large. I think he's swinging for the fences, but he did mention in a meeting that I had with him that he would take, a part, sorry, I didn't have a meeting, it was an email. He would take a partial, anywhere we wanted to contribute, we could contribute and collaborate. He's just being, transparent and saying this is where the money would go. But if we were to say, we're going to give you X amount of dollars towards the translation of the Spanish language visitor guide, anything that we gave him would be acceptable, more than appreciated. So, Commissioner Harrell?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Attorney Neb, did you?
Yeah, just wanted to make a couple of points on this item. Certainly, from a recommendation perspective, the Commission can, under this item, make a recommendation to the City Council about maybe partially funding some of this. I do want to point out on the part about a contract with Visit Vallejo, the Commission has no contracting power. It's not a separate legal entity, so it would have to be the Council taking on that role of, or staff, theoretically, depending on how much money we're talking about here, taking on that role of contracting with Visit Vallejo. The Commission cannot contract.
Can we, I see what you're saying. So in order to, it would have to be, how would we be able to help fund if we wanted to collaborate with him and say, well, we'd like to be part of this, and we'd like to give you, $10, $1,000.
Okay. Well,
is that possible?
Sure. So one of the things that the Commission can do, and you need to tie it back to your budget and your work plan, so happen to have the budget in front of me, so I knew there was a reason I kept this in this drawer. So I do think that if you look at your budget asks, particularly the part on the 25-26 budget of the $20,000 budget, because the other $7,000 has yet to be approved by the council. But ultimately, you could say, I'm just making this up, some of your, marketing money that you have in here, or maybe some portion of it, you would want to provide for this purpose, depending on what you define the purpose as. You would be able to say, we would like to do that, and then make a recommendation to staff/council about any other funding and recommending a contract be entered into with Visit Vallejo for those specifically defined services that you are recommending. That doesn't mean the council says yes to further funding or to, the recommendation, but it certainly is something that you can do. I think this agenda item is broad enough for you to do that tonight, if that's what you would like to do.
Thank you.
Through the chair, we do have 2 speakers online who would like to speak.
Okay. Would you like to just, Commissioner Garcia? Go ahead.
Yeah, a couple of points. I just wanted to amplify the points of Commissioner Monroe, that I feel like we're very early in our execution of our work plan. So it feels, for me, in candor, a little bit premature for us to be evaluating moving out parts of our budget to other parts of the city without having established subcommittees to discuss how we want to move that work forward. And I would actually really recommend that maybe we revisit this item in maybe three meetings from now to make that decision. So we'll have had subcommittees who can actually really make some concrete proposals about and have discussions as subcommittees about where they want our collective budget to go.
Okay. Commissioner Harrell?
Yeah, as I read through this, as all of us have, there's a couple of different components, $15,000 and $10,000. As I look at it, marketing and advertising has been being done by the organization. They might want to expand it, but at a certain point, we need to take care of home first, in my opinion. And what I mean by taking care of home is we've spoken to the lack of advertising and marketing to what is defined as the new demographic customers in this document, yet that's a secondary item on this list. And in my opinion, it should be at the top of the list. The percentage of Latino population, Spanish-speaking Latino population in the city of Vallejo is what? X. I'm not sure what the number is, but it's significant. 25%. As a public entity, I'm not sure, but there's a class action available for the city not providing information in multiple languages, just like a ballot. And although this is carried out by Visit Vallejo, it's actually it's advertising the city if they're budgeting it, if they're helping to fund it.
Yeah.
Is this making
It makes
sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I think that this request was, like I mentioned, it was just if they're budgeting $10,000, this is where the money's going, or $15,000. And it was just whether or not we wanted to collaborate in any way possible to help move their work forward. It wasn't us saying, we're going to give you $15,000, or I understand the administrative. They're being transparent in how the money will be spent, and we would just be collaborating with them. It would be a collaboration on our part, and definitely not for the entire fund request. And as I mentioned, this fund request actually went to two other entities, to Vallejo Main Street and Vallejo Chamber of Commerce. So it would be something that would be collaborative with other stakeholders in our area.
Yeah, and then, when you pay out money, you should have a stake in recommending or demanding how things are done, or in what order things are done. Sure. So I would like to make sure that as we revisit this, that we look at the Spanish language piece as a critical priority, even if it's a lower volume, of printing or whatever it might be. I'm not sure what the 10 grand is going to be. Well, I see it's what they expect as outcomes, but I'm not sure what that cost is really.
Yeah. Manny, did you want to pull up a speaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We'll start with Tony Stewart, followed by Kirk Smith. Tony Stewart, please unmute yourself. You have the floor.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Tony Stewart here, speaking on behalf of myself here as a citizen. I would just ask that if and when this item moves forward, that you actually require that the funds being spent out of this particular contract be spent in Vallejo. I think leading by example is important here. Furthermore, I think as you move forward with your separate and different subcommittees, I think it's important that you support the city in developing a procurement policy to shop local itself. We have a lot of small businesses here who could benefit from contract work with the city, and asking citizens to shop local, but when the city does not exhibit those values is very contradictory. So I think as you move forward, that's something to think about as well. Thank you and good evening or good night.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Next speaker, Kirk Smith. Please unmute yourself. You have the floor.
Excellent. Thank you, Manny. And thank you, Commissioner Lufus and the entire Economic Development Commission. I do apologize for not being present in person, but felt it was important to be at minimum present virtually. I've loved the discussion that has taken place. And on behalf of Visit Vallejo, I just want to make sure that some of these items that you have in front of you are clear. They're really, as outlined, they're two separate requests, two separate entities. The first one is for that Shop Local campaign that the economic development consultant has challenged us with, and we've had several meetings. When I say we, it's exactly what Commissioner Lufus spoke to, is the collaboration between the Vallejo Chamber as well as Vallejo Main Street. Now, Vallejo Main Street is making some headway in some of the, I'll call it point of sale materials, but we wanted to add on. And by adding on, the funds requested would be for advertising for Shop Vallejo First, updating the Shop Vallejo First website, giving it its own brand, its own voice, its own entity, and to kick it off, and then develop a maintenance program or a maintenance marketing program strategy that would continue it to flourish over time. If the decision is made that that is something that this group, this commission would want to support, we would, as Commissioner Lufus says, certainly welcome funding in order to do so. To be completely transparent, without the funding from the EDC or funding from the city, we would have a difficult time, even with the three entities collaborating, getting this off the ground, and to be a prominent program for the city and the retailers, and we were challenged with that from your constituents at the from the city economic development office for the interim consultant. So that's one. The second is something that Visit Vallejo has inspired to do, at least in my tenure over the last 11 months, and that is to have a more bilingual marketing effort and communication program. And when the request came over with Commissioner Gonzalez's, and I know my time's up, so I'll be quick, but when Commissioner Gonzalez came up with that concept last week or last meeting, or the meeting before, it really opened our eyes to that there might be some opportunity. And again, in full transparency, we don't necessarily have the funding. We barely have the funding, quite honestly, to do the English version of the visitor's guide, and would seek additional funding to be able to execute the visitor guide, which is really our main source of communication. One of the things we have on our vision board and our list is to have a bilingual website, in addition to the visitor's guide, and then all printed materials moving forward would have that bilingual. And I couldn't agree with Commissioner Harrell any more that it is a neglected part. I mean, I look at reports of who's attending events, whether it's at Six Flags, whether it's at the Mare Island, whether it's at an Hispanic population of those attending our events, whether they're local or from out of market, is in the 35, 36 percentile. So it is definitely a market that from a marketing perspective, you might want to call it neglected, but it would be new eyeballs and new ears for what at least Visit Vallejo does from a communication standpoint. So with that being said, I just immense amount of gratitude for this conversation, and to have an opportunity to step in the batter's box. thank you. We'll take whatever feedback and whatever suggestions that are offered up to heart and follow up with any necessary materials or information that you all would need to make a more well-informed decision on how you want to support Visit Vallejo or not, or support the collaboration of Visit Vallejo, the Chamber, as well as Vallejo Main Street. And with that, thank you.
Thank you, Kirk. Do we have Vice Chairman Rowe?
Yes, thank you for that, chiming in, Mr. Stewart and Mr. Kirk. Lastly, I just had one thing before I make a motion on this. I just wanted to ask, actually, I might as well include this in the motion. I'd like to make a motion that we table this item as Commissioner Garcia mentioned for 3 meetings until we kind of get the details together. But in specific, I would like to know what companies would be used to help translate, and then also if you have a relationship with former Vice Mayor Laura Diaz, I would say reach out to somebody like that in the community to figure out if there's better ways that we can get that translation cost down and be a little bit more efficient in that area. Thank you.
Question.
Sure. Commissioner Harrell?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the speaker is still online. It would be great if they were. Is there any Latino representation within the organization of Visit Vallejo? Is there a Latina or a male or female of Latin background within the organization?
But he's sitting here.
Kirk, you can speak.
Okay, thanks, Manny. Great question. We do have a board member that is within that culture. I can't speak to the level of their ability to translate, but certainly they are. The aforementioned former council member Diaz was the Visit Vallejo City Council liaison, which is now the previous speaker for you, Councilmember Matthias. So the answer to that question, if it's a yes or no, I would say more on the no side than the yes side. Andrea Garcia is Toro University. She's also on our board. Again, I'm not sure of her bilingual
It wasn't violent.
knowledge. So.
No, it was not. My question was not relative to the translation services. It was more of bringing that sensitivity to the table during meetings and relative to marketing. If it's a different demographic than it's been marketed to in the past, no matter the medium, it would make sense that there be someone engaged, whether paid or not. It could be volunteers. Just I suggest that as an organization, it would be to the value of Visit Vallejo to make sure that they have those present. So thank you very much for letting me know that there are some. They're not necessarily engaged at that level, though. Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Garcia?
Thank you. I just wanted to thank our public commenters, Mr. Stewart and Mr. Smith. I think the other thing that I wanted to say in advance of putting this back on the agenda in a few months, Mr. Smith, is that I would like to offer, having had personal and professional experience in providing multilingual services online, if you would like to meet to discuss that, I'd be happy to chat with you to see if there's something that we can do, process or otherwise, so that way we're more informed when we come back and maybe have a little bit of a proposal.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. It's great. We have a motion on the floor. Is that correct? So we just need a second to table
I'll
this for
second.
3 months? Okay. All right, so
The roll call required?
we need to roll call this.
Okay.
Chair Lufus,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Rowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez absent, Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
and Commissioner Mitchell absent. Motion carries with 5 yeas.
Great, thank you. And then I have one quick question for Attorney Neb. So I received a letter, or I received some information from a local business that does marketing and websites and all the great fun graphic design things that we will have to most likely need done within our work plan or just in general for the commission. My question is, how would we go about working with somebody who is a Vallejo business, but if we wanted to engage them in work, say to lay out a flyer or a banner, something of that sort?
So it depends on how much money we're talking about. And again, the commission cannot contract. So if we're talking about a level of money that does not have any formal process in the procurement process, which is an ordinance adopted by the city council. By the way, there is a local preference in that ordinance, just so everybody's not unaware that we do have one. I think ultimately, once you know what it is you would want to do, then we would look at the process and tell you from there what that process would be. Okay. So if at a future meeting, say you wanted to, I'm going to go make a reference back to your budget, you wanted, I'm just going to to engage some professional photography in something that you would use for, then it would be the question of who, what, how much of the budget, et cetera, you wanted to look at for that line item, what the purpose was, what in the work plan you were looking to accomplish with that, and then we'd go from there to give you the advice on, well, how would we go about doing that? Contracting, could you just do a direct contract, or would we have to put it out to, say, 3 informal proposals, et cetera? So there's a pretty robust process in our municipal code, but we can help you to follow that process. Okay. Or help the city to follow that process once you tell us exactly what you would want to do.
Okay. And then, just out of curiosity, we have a preference for City of Vallejo vendors, but there's no formal list or anything. It's just we have a preference to.
So the preference process, again, the procurement ordinance goes on for many, many, many sections, but essentially, depending on the amount of money and whether it has to be a formal bid process or not, so looking at things like that. In those processes, there is a assessment of whether it is a local business gets, I'll call it extra points. So let me give you an example. Those extra points would not carry a local business for double the price of a business that isn't a local business. But let's say they were really close, then that preference could carry a local business over I don't want to use the word foreign, that sounds weird, non-local business. How about non-local business? So you can look at that in the procurement provisions, and certainly if there are some suggestions to take forward to the city council, provided they're within the confines of the law, we could do that. As a charter city, we are actually exempt and can have our own procurement process from the processes that are mandated by law for general law cities, but we have to adopt an ordinance to do that.
And what is the dollar amount
There you go.
that requires a bidding process?
Off the top of my head, I don't have it memorized, I'm sorry. I can send you all a copy of that ordinance and just basically highlight the areas where the steps are. Okay. I know anything over $100,000 that you don't really care about has to go to a formal process. I think the low end of that, I don't know, I think it's 10 and 100, and then under 10 is a whole different, much more loose process, which is probably where you're going to be.
Yeah, that's
So let me just actually send that piece of it to you and let you look at that. Okay,
great.
Happy to do that.
So just one last question.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to engage a local business for services, we would have conversations with that person and then have them bring back an invoice or pricing to us, or proposal, and then present that here before anything happen, and then we'd two-step it and do all the.
Yeah, and probably at that time, if you were intending to do that, if you could let me know in advance,
Okay.
I could bring the standard applicable contract, which would, so that the vendor could see what that looks like. Because all of our contracts for vendor services or purchasing are standardized.
Okay, great, thank you. Commissioner Garcia?
You actually already asked my question. I was asking about the procurement limits.
Okay, great, thank you. Let's see, I guess that brings us to item 9B, request to consider the creation of an ad hoc subcommittee for civic innovation and technology. Commissioner Garcia. Do you have a list, or would you like to just, before we start this, we've tried to make this ad hoc committee in the past. So we know that we're going to change some wording on the name of the committee and the tasks that this committee would perform and the duration of this committee. I just want to make that clear. That's what our goal is tonight, before we move to this second step. So go ahead, Commissioner Garcia.
Yes, I was going to say, I think this is great and fine, and we should definitely discuss this to get things rolling. The one thing that I will say is that also on the list of agenda items is making sure that we have a process for assigning tasks from our work plan and prioritizing those tasks from our work plan. So I think actually more important than naming the commission, I think we should also just take a moment to figure out like a line around the function of the commission. And I think that would actually inform like how long the commission needs to subsist for. I think, and I'll say this again, I think in my purview, there are, I believe, 5 different work areas in the work plan, and there are about 10 different neighborhoods that are listed there. There are a lot of ways that we can slice this and dice this. For me, the most straightforward way was just to name them after the sections in the work plan. But truth be told, I don't really care what they're named. I think we just need to get names and get them established, and be really clear about what they're charged to do, I think is really the bottom line from my perspective.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to pull up the work plan really quick on my phone, but. Commissioner Garcia, do you happen to have those tasks listed, or can you?
I do. Well, I can pull up. So if I were to architect this from beginning to end, we have a commission on civic innovation and technology, which is basically named after the 5th part of the work plan. So if we go down to that section, which I'm scrolling as we speak, it's on page 13 for those of you that might have it. If you don't, it's okay. I will just narrate it to you. So the idea is that this committee is responsible for a few key tasks here. We've got 4 bulleted in the work plan. Research, to understand and research national investments related to data, AI, and technology. Again, just to reiterate, this is aligned with our charge around providing recommendations directly to the City Council. The second bullet is understand general use and challenges to the internet and technology for small and mid-sized businesses. The third is to understand AI-driven sentiment analysis and understand business and resident needs and concerns. And then the fourth is to explore ways and recommendations for the City of Vallejo to best leverage technology and improve city processes to better serve Vallejo businesses. So it's those 4 things, and then there are some success metrics, which is really to offer those recommendations and advisement to the council on opportunities for investment in this area. So for me, I think those are the tasks of this subcommittee. That is what would define it as successful is providing those recommendations directly to council. And I don't know if anybody else has any questions, comments, additions, et cetera.
Do you, oh, sorry, go ahead, Vice Chairman Rowe.
Yeah, no, now that you broke it down like that and kind of gave us some more detail regarding the civic innovation and technology, I'm kind of a little bit more on board as far as, it being an ad hoc committee. I know we're going to have to find 3 members, so, that just think about that. But as far as what I was kind of visualizing as you were saying everything, I was just driving to San Francisco, and all you see is these giant things, just like AI everywhere, right? And I'm just like, maybe we are missing that part of the game here in not San Francisco, in Vallejo, but just kind of getting our community a little bit more better understanding of AI and how it will benefit our businesses as Vallejo business owners. So maybe that is something we could be dropping the ball on, and this ad hoc committee could be a great way for us to, gain knowledge about more AI information and also give that information out to the community as well. So I don't know, that was my thoughts on it.
Commissioner Harrell?
One of the things that I've observed is mission creep, I'll call it. We have an educational institution in the city, an educational organization, the VCUSD. And I'm of the firm belief that education is for everybody from, preschool through the end of their life, and should be accessible through adult schools or otherwise. I'm not sure if we should expend time on looking at AI from the council or from a commission perspective. Yes, to make recommendations to the city on how they might implement and use to be more service oriented. I can see that, but there's some legalities with that, I'm certain, and I can see the expression on our attorney's face to say, ugh. But there's some efficiencies that can be garnered from it that may not create legal challenges. But I think that and this is a broad statement, I think that we have to collaborate with the other entities in this city to bring this city together. The city council, the school board, our committee with whomever we need to, our commission with whatever we need to. I just see us expending energy on things that we're not going to have a significant impact on. And AI, there's so much information out there. There's so many courses out there that people can take if they have interest. So is this something that we should be doing public facing, or is this something to explore for operational, to help them see? Because staff is overwhelmed with the day-to-day work that they do. And quite candidly, I can tell you, when you're crazy busy, you don't even have time to look at the technology. You can't dive into it. So I'm just making it's a comment to say, is this something that we really want to go down the path on?
I think if I can take a moment
go
to
ahead,
respond.
Commissioner Garcia.
I think, I appreciate that comment, and I definitely think that there's a lot of cross-collaboration needed. I think 2 things. I think one, I don't think the vision of this is solely focused on AI, but it is surfacing that in our lexicon for a few reasons. One, because it is my belief that I think that small businesses, and I think that there is a lot of investment available to cities and municipal governments right now that we are not tapping into, both in the private and public sector. And because of what you just pointed out, that our staff is overwhelmed and doesn't necessarily have the time to spend to look and research these things, this is, I think, the benefit of having a commission in this body in order to do that. So I would say that that's the first point. The second point is I actually think that we, given that this is my profession and my area that I work in, I will also say that I don't think that cities as a whole, generally, are wholly prepared for a lot of the things that a lot of AI companies will be asking and requesting of them in the years to come, both in terms of products that they will be trying to sell our cities, products that they will be trying to sell our small businesses, things that we will need to be cognizant of in the city, and also things that we may need to do from an infrastructure perspective to actually prepare for the onslaught of what we are actually planning. And so for those reasons, I think that spending some time to make some recommendations, again, this is not, in my purview, a part of the work plan that requires us to go out and meet with a ton of people. What this subcommittee is really researching and recommending. And I think that that is the function. And to that point, you know, thinking through who we would collaborate with, certainly I would say that that's the starting point of like how we might think we would, you know, tackle this range of issues. So that's what I would say to that.
Attorney Neb?
So just to inform the commission, there actually is a staff subcommittee on, or committee, if you want to call it that, because the legal issues surrounding governmental use of AI and its security are dramatic, and it grows a lot faster than we can develop policies for it. So we are definitely working on it. So I just didn't want the commission to think nothing was happening in this regard. We are working on it. And we are looking at opportunities internal to the city in a, what I would call, very slow and deliberate way in order to not create the security issues that we have seen in other jurisdictions. There's a lot of issues there. I'll just put it that way. So, but the possible uses from so if you establish this subcommittee and the subcommittee is interested in what the staff committee is doing, we can inform the subcommittee about that. I think to the extent that you're looking at ways that it can help, hurt, or otherwise, like what could businesses do? What are the ways that it could help from the Economic Development Commission side, right? To promote economic development. I think if you all have ideas, et cetera, wanted to meet it with one another in a, you know, in a subcommittee setting to explore those ideas, and then see, you know, talk among yourselves as to how you could push some of that information out to the business, I'll call it the business community. That's economic development. If that's what this committee chooses, if at the end of the day when the subcommittee meets, you look at it and say, you know, it's moving too fast, or it's not something that we can really do without bringing in other partners. Remember that an ad hoc subcommittee can only consist of less than a quorum of you. So you can't have outside people on your committee without making it a standing committee, which would have to be subject to the Brown Act and a lot of staff work, et cetera. But you certainly can, as individuals, go meet with others and bring that information back to your subcommittee. So that's the way that you can involve those other, I don't remember if you called them stakeholders or entities that may have information. You can individually reach out to them, gather that information, and then bring that back to the subcommittee for your discussion. So just some food for thought.
I think that's it. I think unless folks have thoughts about maybe how to, you know, if that sounds like a good charge based on our work plan, et cetera, I think, and I think we wanted to talk time limit, right? From my perspective, maybe I would recommend this if we're all in alignment about why we're doing it and what we're doing. I would probably recommend 1 year, and no more than that. I think that would give us an opportunity to meet a few times and prepare a few recommendations.
I agree with that. Do we have, is the name of the ad hoc need to be altered slightly?
I don't think so. Staff actually, we did a little pre-work on these items and went and looked at what your work plan actually says. This is actually taken directly from the work plan's title, with intent. So I think if what you're suggesting, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but if what you're suggesting is, bring it forward with this title, with the items that are under this title within the work plan as its charge, and then there's been a suggestion for 1 year, you can choose when this comes back to you, if you give us that direction, who the members would be at that time. And we'll just leave blanks like we did on the last resolution and fill those names in for you after you make those selections, I guess I would put it, which is, again, following the pattern of what the council does. So I'm just...
Okay. Great.
I'd like to make a motion. I would like to motion that we create an ad hoc subcommittee for civic innovation and technology with a 1-year term to be determined at the beginning, once the appointees are assigned or the volunteers are assigned.
Second.
Commissioner Harrell? You didn't say the charge, but I'm assuming that was what was previously stated by...
That is accurate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
motion by Commissioner Harrell, seconded by Vice Chair Monroe.
So because this is step 1, that would be to bring that back for step 2 in accordance with that direction.
Yes.
Okay. Chair Lufus,
Yes.
Vice Chair Monroe,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez, absent, Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
and Commissioner Mitchell, absent. Motion carries with 5 yea votes.
Through the chair, we did have a public speaker, Demi, who wanted to speak on the prior item.
Okay.
Are you willing to hear her?
Yes, fine.
Apologies, it's my first time coming, and I was inquiring to do the last open space at the end, but I guess we're just going to throw me right in here. So, good evening. My name is Demi Tsassis. I am the proprietor of Product Growth Coach, which Chairman Lufus had mentioned. I just wanted to introduce myself to the committee and share my enthusiasm for Vallejo and being able to bring an action-oriented view when it comes to how we go about promoting our community. My background is in technology and supporting nonprofits and creating growth for smaller businesses. So I wanted to let this commission know that I am available to you. However, I can be supportive, whether that is with insights or with work items. I just wanted to put myself out there to let you know that I exist and that I want to do what I can to support economic development here with any of my expertise, and to not hesitate to reach out, even if it's for something outside the purview of marketing, which Chairman Lufus recommended me for. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Justice. I know. Do you have any questions for her? Everyone's good? Okay.
No, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you for joining us. It's not common that we get someone that presents their business services to this commission, and I think it's very valuable, and I love the idea that it is a Vallejo-based business.
Thank you. Yes, I have also been very active here in the community. I've served on Vallejo Main Street. I currently work alongside Kirk and the Visit Vallejo entity to help them really start to understand what are ways that they can embrace technology when it comes to how we act out. And I wanted to just say your point around multilingual access on the website is something that I am definitely a proponent of. I would actually go further and say that we should also include Tagalog, because that is also a common language used here in Vallejo. So there is technology available that we already have. It is just, there's an additional cost and an additional time, and you also don't want to just speaking about AI, hey, I can have AI translate, but I would really love a native speaker to read that and actually use the right colloquial language and not make it sound like you're reading a Spanish language book in middle school where you're like, nobody talks like this. None of my neighbors talk like this. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Garcia, did you have a question? Okay, sorry. Great, that moves us to item 9C, request to consider the creation of an ad hoc subcommittee for public safety and economic viability. Again, so this is number 4 in our work plan. And the key tasks would be conduct business safety forums, establish direct communication channels between business owners and law enforcement, advocate for safety measures in business districts, including enhanced street lighting and security, and track the impact of crime on business closures and insurance challenges. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I would just maybe ask the city attorney, is this one conflicting with the public safety committee that the council already kind of created?
No, I don't believe it's a direct conflict. I do think that to the extent that your subcommittee were to come up with some information that could be valuable to the public safety subcommittee, you could designate a member of this commission or the subcommittee in general to go to that meeting and present that information to the Public Safety Committee, who could then potentially help you carry anything that they thought was helpful forward to the full council. So I don't think it's a direct conflict at all. I think it's one more input point and potentially one more, voice for the Public Safety Committee. They're much like maybe ever so slightly more formal than your subcommittees. That particular subcommittee is a standing committee, so it does do agendas, and it's a little more formal, and it doesn't have a duration limitation, and it's really kind of designed to vet all ideas that may come from the community. They could come from other commissions. It could come from staff. A variety of items will end up before that committee with ideas and thoughts. And then the committee is also taking items that we've already talked about at council, and council has given some direction about how to proceed forward with them, and sort of fleshing some of that out. You heard Councilmember Matias give you a report actually from the Public Safety Subcommittee about what the chief had come. That came out of a council request, and then that council request was vetted through the police department and my office, and we gave a report that took that to get some step 2 direction at step 2, and then that ended up then back before the Public Safety Committee, who will ultimately likely be making some recommendations to the City Council. So I think it's, again, symbiotic relationship, not a conflict relationship.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it'll add some good insight, especially specifically talking about the charges related to the business owners and the law enforcement. Because I'm on the Chief Advisory Board, and I was, invited to come to that meeting and support VPD as well. I didn't make it to that meeting, but I'm definitely interested in I'm glad I got the date and time, interested in actually making one of those meetings. So I'd say, maybe we do need an ad hoc committee for it, but maybe that's a great point of, if we are interested, one of us just go to the meeting and just kind of report back as well. I don't see why that would be an issue either. But I got another question for Commissioner Garcia relating to economic viability and how all that ties in. If you can just clarify it for me so I can just have a better understanding.
Sure. I mean, I think what I'll do is I'll talk from my best recollection of this discussion probably almost a year ago, I think at this point, a while back. And I think what we were hearing at the time, we were having a lot of discussion about both closures and damage and destruction. We had businesses, I think, in the downtown that had suffered fires and other things. There was windows that, we were talking about repairing and that kind of thing. And my sense of this inclusion in the work plan was to reflect our desire to be a little bit more proactive and engaged to collect the voices of that small business community, so that we could really reflect that back. And again, provide some of that communication between the city and who we're charged with representing ultimately. So I actually think, that there are many parts of the work plan. I actually think that this is probably one of the most critical.
Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Harrell?
Yeah, how does the economic viability component work with this subcommittee? Just out of curiosity.
I think maybe I'll try to reframe or restate my explanation and see if this makes sense. I think that it's really about the impact of public safety on small businesses and their ability to stay open or closed because of what's happening in the city and in the community.
Vice Chair Monroe?
Yeah, I think as Commissioner Garcia kind of stated, it was kind of in response to the conversations we were having when the hardening grant was introduced.
That's right.
When a lot of the business owners were being impacted by burglaries, Anchor Pantry got caught on fire, the store across the street caught on fire. It was a lot going on, specifically in the downtown area. But I think maybe kind of not making this so downtown specific, and it's not stated downtown specific, so let me not even put that out there. But that was kind of our general focus and like mindset when we were talking about all this. But that I think is just another good subcommittee, and giving us some more meaningful work.
I agree. Do we have a motion or Attorney Neb, do you have any comments or?
No, just like the previous one, I think, if you have the charges, what's under the topic heading in your work plan, I think was the intent there. Based on your previous conversation about these ad hoc committees and trying to get them, bound to the work plan. And then the really question that we would have for bringing it back at step 2 would be, again, duration, and you can pick your members when it comes forward for step 2, fill in the blanks in the resolution. So it would be, do you agree on what or within your motion should be, what is it going to do? But you can do it just by reference, and then we'll pull those items out of the work plan for you and put them in the resolution if that's your decision. And then, again, your duration, direction, and then we have enough to go on to bring it back to you for action at step 2.
Thank you. Commissioner Harrell, do you have a question?
Yeah, it's a question relative to, and Commissioner Monroe mentioned the hardening and other activities. I'm not sure we had any effect or impact on people that had businesses that had fires. That's what their insurance is supposed to be able to cover and take care of. Certainly there's a deductible in many instances, but that's a business issue. So my question is, I believe we've seen a reduction in ongoing crime, property crime, in businesses and otherwise, and certainly there wasn't a significant fund available for the hardening, which people had to apply for. I think there might even be money still is still available. So I'm really wondering, as we talk about these things, sometimes you just have to ride the wave. They're cyclical. Issues sometimes are cyclical in nature, and they get addressed and they die out, and then it's peaceful for a while. And then it'll pick back up later on. And I'm not sure that expending resources for those types of things has the type of ROI, although maybe I have to be comfortable with the fact that it makes people comfortable. It makes people believe that something is being done, even if nothing is being done. So I'm small business, so it's like we don't waste time, we don't waste resources. So it's commentary just to ask the question, has there been any data to tell us what the specific impact of the resources that have been allocated for those efforts, what were the results? Because crime is down here and crime is down elsewhere. It all rides together.
Well, and I was just going to add to your points, Commissioner Harrell. I think that that speaks to the necessity of such a subcommittee to actually evaluate the efficacy
Okay.
of what we're talking about, so that we as a body, again, have some trackable, substantive things that we can provide to the city council.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Somebody making a motion?
Were you gonna, did you?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to consider or to request to consider the creation of an ad hoc subcommittee for public safety and economic viability, as stated previously with the charges mentioned, and for a duration of 1 year, and also to choose our members when time is needed.
My only question on this particular point is just because the enormity of this topic, and because I know, if I recall correctly, we may be limited on renewal. Do we want to have this for only a year, or can we have it for longer? What are our stipulations there?
You can have it for longer. You could make it 2 years, and you could dissolve it if you're done in 18 months.
Okay.
If that's what you wanted to do. So certainly you can do that.
Yeah.
I thought since it was
I'd like to make
it
an
would only be 1 year.
I don't believe that's the case, but I'll look at that before we bring it back, just to be certain. We usually make a suggestion of 1 year because of the, turnover on commissions, but you've been relatively stable right now, but I will take a look at that before we bring it back. So if you want to make the recommendation for 2, and that's allowed, if there's a problem with that, we'll let you know when we bring it back.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to, just amend that motion for instead of 1 year, make it a 2-year ad hoc subcommittee. Thank you.
I'll second.
Great.
Okay, roll call. Commissioner Lufus,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice Chair Monroe,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez absent, Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
and Commissioner Mitchell absent. Motion carries 5 votes.
Great. That brings us to item number 10, the second community forum. Do we have any speakers wishing to address the commission on any matter for which another opportunity to speak is not provided on the agenda and which is within the jurisdiction of the commission to resolve?
Through the chair, yes, we do have one speaker online.
Great.
Melvin Cohen, please unmute yourself. You have the floor.
Yes, thank you. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. So good evening, commissioners, Chair Lufus, Vice Chair Monroe, and members of the public. My name is Melvin Cowan, a Vallejo resident and local small business owner. I want to thank Councilmember Matias for his report out and the progress that they're working towards in the council. It's encouraging. And then also for tonight's meeting, it sounds like there's a lot of progress that's beginning to happen, so I'm encouraged by that. I just want to highlight tonight an economic issue that often gets overlooked. And so Vallejo has businesses that operate as our community safety net infrastructure, especially our local food banks and 211 emergency call system. In addition to providing charity, they are also stabilizing the very foundation of Vallejo's economy. And so food banks are a part of Vallejo's economic engine. During recent federal disruption and regional crisis, our food banks saw tremendous surges in demand. These organizations prevented thousands of Vallejo households, including essential workers, gig economy earners, families, and seniors from falling into deeper emergencies. And so when our food banks are under-resourced, the impact shows up across the city. So that looks like higher 911 and police call volume, increased emergency room usage, more families displaced and entering homelessness, and reduced consumer spending in local shops, restaurants, and small businesses. And so supporting our local food banks, their capacity, logistics, staffing, storage improvements, and emergency response readiness, it's not just a social services decision, it's economic development. And if you talk to our food banks, they will tell you that the support is definitely needed and welcome. And then also just being able to strengthen our 211 system as well too, because our call center also faced extremely high call volume during that period, requests for housing, food, childcare, and health-related needs. And so the system needs additional support as well, so that we were able to better navigate emergencies as they rise. And this matters to the Economic Development Commission because as Vallejo grows and becomes more diverse, our city needs emergency ready, community ready, and business ready infrastructure. Our food banks and 211 are not just the safety nets, they're stability hubs in our city, and they keep our residents anchored enough to participate in the local economy. And so I respectfully ask for the commission to consider recognizing Vallejo's food banks and 211 as economic safety net businesses that deserve a place in the city's economic planning, exploring a Vallejo-based pilot to strengthen their operational capacity during federal, state, and regional disruptions, and coordinating with the City Council, Solano County, and philanthropic partners to build a sustainable funding model that supports these essential services. I want to recognize Faith Food Fridays, Food is Free Bay Area, Sparrow Project, Vallejo Together, and a number of other organizations and community members that stepped up during the period. Thank you all so much for your time, and looking forward to the next steps.
Thank you, speakers, so much, and thank you for recognizing the important work that these food banks are doing for the city of Vallejo.
That was great.
It was. Item 11, future agenda items. Does anybody have any item that they would like to add to our list of future agenda items? Or is there any item on this list that you would like to bring forward sooner? So, nothing specifically? Nothing? Or Commissioner Garcia?
I want to
did you-
give folks space. I've been talking a lot. Anybody want to jump in?
Go.
Okay. All right, I'm jumping. Hold on. So I think a couple of things. I think that if there's appetite, I understand that we have 3 operating subcommittees right now. We do have on this list, somewhere I thought I saw here, ad hoc committees in conjunction with the EDC work plan. We've already gone, I think, and created 3. I think that there's two other places that we need to activate, and I think that we should make sure that we're discussing how to activate those. I believe we have a strategy area around refining economic strategies to drive growth. Actually, maybe that's the only one, because we do have a business recruitment and retention,
I think
correct?
so, yeah. But yeah, the strategy advisement, I think, is important. The key tasks on that are something we definitely should be bringing forward.
Yeah, I think we should resurface that agenda item and just make sure that we have tasks associated with the different subcommittees.
Okay.
The only thing that I wanted to highlight, I think that's on this list specifically, and we can discuss where we want to prioritize that. Granted, there's no shortage of things to discuss. But I do notice that Commissioner Harrell was listed as proposing a discussion on tariffs. And I see that it was removed here, not in purview. And I would just say I actually really strongly disagree with that position. And I would like to understand a little bit more about the process of removal, how we're informed about things that will be removed for consideration. And also, I think that we should discuss its relevancy, because I actually think it's pretty strongly relevant to our small business community.
Yeah. So the discussion happened during agenda planning meeting, and just discussing the generality of the item, tariffs. That's a very huge topic, and wondering, it's not something that council has addressed, and so we were wondering, why would the EDC be focused on something that you don't have purview over? I saw it as more of a federal item. So there's consensus just in the discussions with the chair, and then sometimes soliciting input from additional staff.
Well, I'd like to maybe just have us reconsider a couple of points. One, I don't think that we should be basing items whether or not the council has addressed them, mostly because our job here is to surface things to the council. If we need to actually provide counsel, I mean, we're an advisement body principally, so I think that that's one thing. The second thing is if I recall the discussion, and my colleagues can jump in, it's not a broad discussion on federal tariffs, but as I recall, we were discussing the automotive industry, which is so heavy and so large in this community. Auto parts, auto people fixing autos, car washes, auto dealerships is such a large proportion of this community. And I think what we are looking at is really trying to understand and grasp what the impact of this new weight on these companies is, since actually so much of our revenue is reliant upon these shifts and changes. And I actually think that that has huge local impact. And I'm actually quite surprised that there's been no discussion about it either publicly in any other body at all, because I think that that's highly relevant. I mean, I'd love to hear some thoughts from my colleagues and then really get a better sense of process on how we might think through having that as a discussion item in the future.
Commissioner Harrell?
I would, even though I was the one that recommended it, I would strongly agree that as an advisory body, we can take up subject matter that the council has not brought forth yet and make a recommendation that they bring it forth for discussion.
Right.
It seems to be preemptive to strike any request of members of the commission based on the rationale that's applied here. It seems to be preemptive. That's all to me. So I have to agree that we are an advisory body, and as such, we have to discuss whether we want to give advice. We can't do anything about the tariffs, obviously, but we can explore what the impact is and what the challenge will be or has been to businesses that are impacted by it. We have a challenge with cars on the streets, right? Abandoned vehicles, broken down vehicles, and that sort of thing. Well, guess what? If the price of parts went up 30%, you're going to have even more cars on the street.
100%.
What are we doing here? How are we going to address it? Because it's going to impact us with more abandoned vehicles and blight, et such. So I think that those are relative issues for this commission.
So do we want to change maybe the discussion to be discussion on how tariffs may be impacting our small businesses?
Sure.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
That's fine.
great.
Okay.
I can live with that all day.
And then not just how they're impacting small businesses, but also the industries that are being impacted?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would also just recommend that just a term of process, that if there's something that feels broad or is misunderstood, that we come back to this body and this commission and discuss why it's being removed off of the list, which, certainly I'm sure that will happen from time to time, and we'll discuss things and deprioritize things. But I do think it's important that we do that.
Okay, great, thank you. And Commissioner Gonzalez is not here, but I see on here, she had discussed workforce development for the youth, specifically collaboration with Six Flags, and although it's not their time of hiring at this point, it will be, I'm not sure if it's January or further out. So we have it on here targeting for December or January, but I'm thinking we'll probably move it a little bit further out to maybe February. Just because I want us to hit that market as soon as it's open. So is there anything else on here that you guys would like to alter, move, or just change in any way? Commissioner Harrell?
Yeah, the final item on the list, dated 9/10/2025. In the future, if we could just put a number next to each of these, it would probably be faster too. That was a request to obtain a list of the vendors that the city uses, and it's referred to CC item. What exactly, city council item? Is that what that CC item is for? And where do we get that reference?
Yeah, let me remember. I think I was supposed to refer you to the city council item. Finance provides a report to the city council. I'm not sure if it's done monthly or quarterly or what the frequency is, but this information does go to council periodically, which is, you wanted a list of the payments that are made to vendors? Is that?
Yeah, what vendor, the desire was to identify where the resources, where our money is being spent, if there's competitive services that could be provided within the city. You know, many businesses don't do business with the city or school district or otherwise because of slow payment, because there's a lot of paperwork that goes into getting it set up, and you know, for $3,000, why spend $3,000 on doing paperwork? So it's to have a better understanding of how our resources are spent. That's really what the purpose was. So while the finance department is providing a list of expenditures and who those vendors are during that given time, there is a list of vendors that is a go-to list for all services that the city would perhaps need. No?
No, the closest thing that the city has to that is, is our vendors that are in the purchasing system because they have a current contract. That doesn't mean that they are an approved contractor. As I said before, we have the purchasing ordinance that sets forth, I'm just going to give you the whole ordinance so you can see what it looks like, because honestly, it's tiered. But that sets forth the tiers of how we go about selecting vendors.
Not to interrupt, but I am interrupting. It's more of, and I totally understand that, it's more of identifying the needs and seeing if there are local businesses that may be able to provide whatever that need is. As it stands right now, if a business doesn't come to the city to say, hey, I'm available for services, I mean, much like me and my business, if I don't go to a school to say I'm available, schools aren't looking for us, you know.
Well, let me be clear about the process a little more. Certainly, staff reaches out to, if it's an informal process, so we take informal bids, go out to 3 vendors. Obviously, staff goes out to either the vendors they know will produce the services and or products that they need, vendors that are part of cooperative agreements with other agencies and the federal government and the state government, which we have some of those. Vendors that are, and I'm using the word vendor very broadly here to encompass services and products, et cetera. But if the threshold for needing to receive a formal bid is met under the ordinance, and I would suggest before you go too far in messing with this one, you look at the ordinance. That goes out on a publicly available website.
Bid site.
It's exactly. So that website is basically called Planet Bids. That's what it's called. Anybody can go onto that website at any time and look at what we are looking to procure for at that given time. The problem with the concept you're talking about is there's no bypass for that process. There's some bypass for it. If it's in the best interest of the city council can choose that bypass. But realistically, looking at what our past vendors are might tell you what the future have been, might tell you what the future vendors could be. And I suppose the commission could suggest some way of notifying them, notifying local businesses, but
the process as it stands.
Process isn't set up for that.
Right. And the process as well is very passive in soliciting local entities that might be able to provide the service. If they're not availing themselves of Planet bids, then they wouldn't know that that there's a bid available. So I'm just trying to explore, how do we retain as much revenue as we can within the four corners of the city of Vallejo?
So I guess certainly there is a existing, at any given time, if there's an active contract, there's an existing vendor. We know who the existing vendors are. That's a little bit different than what you're suggesting.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're talking about an awful lot of research to determine whether or not the products and services we purchased this year, let's put it that way, or last year, are the ones we would be looking for in the future. Maybe, maybe not, depends. And then the secondary question of whether or not there is anyone local who can provide those and meet the contracting requirements. As a for instance, we might have a small construction contract firm here in the city, but they have no bonding capacity.
Yep.
Well, we're not going to make
Can't do it.
we're not going to do that like that. So I guess the question really is the information you're seeking available? Probably. But what do you want to do with it is the next question. Because if it's just to let people know, like another way to advertise to local businesses, hey, this is up on Planet Bids, that may be something different than the question of, or perhaps suggest a process that says, when doing informal bids, staff should look for local vendors first and then go out to other vendors or something to that effect. Then I think you could probably do that without knowing who the vendors are. Does that make sense?
It's an plausible explanation.
It doesn't matter to me if you want to see the list. I guess we can produce it. It's public
I
record.
absolutely appreciate the answer because, I can see what your brain is doing, your machinations to get to a reasonable response. And it's not that I'm asking, I'd hope, and I would hope that this is not an ask that requires a lot of work. Maybe it is. And what do we do with it? It's yes, so we can put them on a hot list and say, hey guys, hey ladies, hey businesses, this is out for bid right now. Are you interested?
So I guess, but in all fairness, the commission could do that by looking at Planet Bids and doing that, like your shop local, whatever we replaced it with, could look at Planet Bids itself and contact the local businesses you think might be interested. But let me put it this way. I think staff can investigate to give more information to this item to see if you want to leave it on or take it off. What it would take to give you a vendor list going back to, I don't know what finance would have to do to create that list. So if you want us to ask finance what they would have to do to create that list to see how much trouble it is, we can ask them that question. And then bring that information back to help inform the next time you go over this list. I mean, we can leave it there like this and then give you that information and see whether you want to modify it slightly or what you want to do with that item. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Another idea, and I feel like we might have discussed this before, is what if we asked finance if we could put a blurb in the letter that goes out to business owners when they have to renew their business license, saying, are you aware, that we have Planet Bids and we seek Vallejo businesses periodically to do various things, and then at least then the business gets an awareness, oh, I should check Planet Bids periodically. And also, like you said with the construction example, not every business is going to want to enter into the kind of process that governments have to buy stuff or services. But they can self-select. They can decide if it's worth it to them or not.
I think when we bring the list back and you might want to refine that item, we can add that refinement to the item, if that's a
desired to the commission.
Thank you. Commissioner Garcia?
I was actually just going to say, given Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Harrell's discussion with our city attorney, it sounds like a very valuable item to agendize
Yes.
future forward. So that was just going to be my comment.
Great, okay. So, I think that's. All right, item 12, announcements. Does anybody have announcements? I got one. All right, Vice Chairman Rowe.
So I'm excited to announce I was invited to an event. It's the More Than a Cut Foundation presents A Night to Connect. So Friday, November 14th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at 402 Tuolumne Street, which is also known as the Grind Cafe. A group of business owners is going to be coming together, just collaborating, just connecting, kind of creating different partnerships and things like that. So it's open to the public. Business owners have been reaching out to me, just trying to figure out different ways to collaborate and network. You know, they're reaching out to us as commissioners, and I feel like it's definitely our obligation and duty when we get these messages, put this information out there, because you never know how people can connect and how that can change somebody's life or business. So, thank you.
And just to confirm, that was Friday, 11/14, at what time?
From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Great.
at the Grind Cafe.
Thank you. Any other announcements? No, okay. Item 13, adjournment. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Garcia?
Sorry, I'll just share. I'll be really quick.
okay.
I know we're trying to close the meeting. I wanted to share a couple of things. One has been on my list to share for several meetings, but I don't know if anybody has heard any updates on this, but I heard that downtown there is going to be a new cheese shop. Is that
Yes, a cheese shop.
a new cheese shop?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody
I thought it was going to open a few months ago, but I guess it's been delayed. Oh, yeah. It's
So they have really great stickers that I have been bringing the last few meetings that I have forgotten this meeting. So I just wanted to plug Stinky's Cheese Shop with the skunk on all their stickers, which I am so thrilled about in downtown, beyond measure. So that's the first one. That's the thing I've been dying to say for several months, is to plug Stinky's Cheese Shop. Great samples. And then the other two things that I just wanted to mention was that I attended a Public Innovator Summit in Baltimore, Maryland within the last couple of weeks. I really had an opportunity to meet people in the civic innovation space from across the United States and the world. And I won't bore everybody with the details here, but I think that there was a lot of conversation about economic development, recovery projects, and different design methods that could be applied to reinvigorate communities. So I did want to give a fast plug for that. And also that I participated in a meeting last Friday with a group of community members who were looking to better fill the gap around food shortages. And I think that, and there was a real desire, and I know that things have shifted, obviously, I think this week, in our government distribution. But I bring this to this commission because I think what was really interesting that came up is how our shop local or our local business community might participate now or in the future in some of that distribution. So that's not an item, but I think it's something for our own awareness that we should be thinking about going forward. And that's it.
Great, thank you. I think we all should be thinking about food shortages at all times.
I think we all better start learning how to plant seeds.
That too. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Quick, just, IT sent me a message. They wanted to share that the free public Wi-Fi has gone live in downtown, so just share.
Awesome. Right.
Wow.
Congrats.
Yeah. Yay. Okay, I think we are adjourned at 8:14.
Do we need a motion?
Or do we need a motion to adjourn?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but everybody agreed.
We all, yeah. We all. 8:20.
What? I'm gonna get chicken over at Bambino.
Just dinner.
Fried chicken, girl. 10, 12, $14.